Welcome back to Alberta Primetime and our nightly vocal point now. 2010's Rrsp contribution deadline is here. The Bank of Canada makes its latest interest rate announcement tomorrow. And who wouldn't love a little more money through all these money headlines? The Monday Money panel has practical insight and personal advice about the psychology of being rich. In Calgary, Shafik Hirani, Director and Senior Executive Financial Advisor with Investors Group, who also happens to have a psychology degree. Beth Hamilton-Keene, Director and Portfolio Manager with Moore Investment Management, Calgary. And Jim Yee, a financial education expert, columnist, speaker, author, founder of retirehappy.ca. Welcome back, everybody.
Thanks, Jennifer. Thank you.
Well, in a new TD Canada Trust survey, 3/4 of 18 to 34-year-olds said it is unlikely they will be worth $1 million or more by the time they retire. In fact, 1/3 said their best bet for becoming a millionaire is winning the lottery. Just 1 in 10 could see themselves getting there through saving. But TD says you can do it. We'll show you the formula in a moment. First, Shafik, what are people's mental hang-ups around money? What's keeping us from becoming rich?
Well, I think, you know, the survey says everything itself. It's one, they don't even, often people don't even believe they can actually achieve something. And so if you don't have that kind of faith or that kind of belief, and $1 million now is not what $1 million used to be. I think they choose this arbitrary figure because it's got 7 digits in it. The first step, I honestly think, is to remove that doubt and have a certain belief system that you can achieve it.
A very good friend of mine, or at least someone I definitely look up to, Lyle Best of Quick Card, said, you can't not do something in order to succeed. Those who succeed don't do nothing, basically.
Yes, Jennifer, that came from Yoda. Yoda is there is no try, do or don't.
Beth, what do you see through your work with various clients? What's the psychology of being rich?
Well, really, it's to be able to avoid the negative feeling that it comes with thinking about money. Don't let the money be the dark energy. Let it be your positive force. And so that's really, you know, back to Yoda, I guess. That's really going to be part of it. A lot of it is getting over the anxiety. A lot of people think, oh, it's too hard to think about. It's something I've got to put off. It's something I don't really want to have to do. It's a requirement, kind of like dieting. I have to do it. I should do it. It's not something I want to do. That's one thing. And then the other one is to help you. You've got to look to master your confidence and your competence. It's like anything. It takes practice. It takes righting yourself if you get off track. It takes the evaluation and the constant work.
It's kind of like golf. You walk up onto the course and think, I'm brutal at this, right? And so what's going to happen? You're going to be brutal at it. How do you change that mindset, though? If you're just full of gloom whenever you look at that portfolio or your financial planner's name and number, how do you change that to be, I'm going to go do this?
But same thing with golf. You identify where you want to improve. You identify a self-discipline, a strategy to begin to work with it. And more importantly, I think some of the critical things is identify your own money values. What is the money for? Get excited about something that money is for. Is it for the peace of mind that I don't have to work one day? Is it for that property on a lake somewhere? What is it for? And that'll give you some motivation, absolutely.
Jim, is there a bias against those people who have figured it out, against the rich? This month, Canada Revenue Agency announced a crackdown on the wealthiest Canadians just because. Is that part of the negative mindset that maybe we all have?
Well, I think, yeah, there's a classic case of the haves versus the have-nots, and I think it's easy to criticize the perceived haves, but I think it's also important to respect that if you criticize those with, then you can never become that. In other words, if you think it's bad to be wealthy, or you think there's a negativity to be wealthy, then I challenge whether you can actually become wealthy, because you're creating your own hurdle to becoming that person. If you don't want to be that person, you won't become that person. And it's not that if you want to become that person, you will automatically become, but you're self-limiting yourself. You're creating a hurdle from you actually getting to improve your finances, improve your wealth, improve your investment strategies.
The TD Canada Trust survey on people's confidence gave a formula to become a millionaire by retirement, and it was put $100 a month into an RRSP at age 25. Increase your contributions to $250 a month through your 30s, $500 a month at 35, $750 a month at 40, $1,000 a month between the ages of 50 and 65. Assuming a return of 6.8%, you're a millionaire at 65. Shafik, I'm not 25 anymore. I know, it's shocking. What do I do?
Well, again, that's why I love the topic, Jennifer, of the psychology of wealth, because it's really a paradigm shift in the way we approach investing. That even the TD survey of, you do this and you do that and you're going to get there. Well, what about the people that aren't 25? What about the people that can't? They need a different mindset. They need a different approach, and they need to stop looking externally for the answers. I'll be happy when I get a pay raise. I'll be happy when my mortgage is paid off. You need to point the finger at the person in the mirror. And in addition to what Beth said, I think you need to get to an emotional trigger where you say, okay, enough's enough. I need a plan, and I need a plan now. And that's where people tend to make realistic, time-based decisions that cause them to move forward.
Because let's face it, Beth, a lot of people, month to month, it's been in the news, it's just harder and harder for Canadians to live. The cost of living, paychecks aren't going up. What if you just think, I don't have any money to save? That's a depressing
And
stage.
it's easy to get caught in the trap. I think when we do get raises, and they certainly haven't been recent, but when we do get raises, we think, oh, well, I can afford a bigger mortgage, so let me go buy that bigger house. You really do have to go with that old adage, live below your means. Think about the discipline of saving, spending, and giving, and those three categories. Don't just think about cash flow. Think about what are you trying to accomplish, where are you going, and a lot of the temptations that are in the way. It's really going to be a choice of consuming now or consuming later, and it's okay to have balance there.
Okay. Missing the Rrsp contribution deadline this year? Don't feel bad. A lot of us are. Our experts help you with that when the Monday Money Panel returns after the break. Welcome back to Alberta Primetime and the Monday Vocal Point panel. On Monday, we've just talked about the psychology of money. Midnight March 1st is the deadline for 2010 Rrsp contributions. We're also set for word on interest rate hikes, interest rate announcements. We don't know what they're going to say from the Bank of Canada tomorrow. Jim Yee, retirehappy.ca. If contributing this year is just not going to happen, what can we do first thing tomorrow anyway?
You got to automate it. That's the simple thing. If, there's two components to every decision. You got emotion, you got logic. Take the emotion out, just automate it. Create a plan, put it away monthly, forget about it.
And when we talked about the TD Canada Trust Survey, how to become a millionaire, it can be done if you save. You call that financial porn?
I do.
Why?
I do. Well, I think there's a bit of a fallacy about this $1 million or $10 million. Retirement is not a number. And I think that society has created this image, and yet despite the fact that it exists, how many people do you know don't have $1 million and are retired happy and comfortably and live a very successful life without having that magic number? So who created that? Is it the financial industry? Is it the media? So that's what.
But the blogs are fighting back, aren't they?
The blogs are fighting back. I've become a blogger, and the big trend now is frugality, frugal living, and how to be cheap, how to be a miser, how to, and that's, I think it's a great trend.
Because, they do say many millionaires are coupon cutters.
They are.
Shafik, how does people's retirement planning differ from other savings that they do?
Well, first of all, most people save short term. So retirement savings is all longer term stuff. And I loved a couple things Jim said. The automation thing is crucial.
Set up your monthly contributions.
Yeah, but people hate it. I hate.
It's like a bill.
Absolutely, it's like a bill, even though you're paying yourself. The second point I think is that he said retirement isn't a number. Retirement itself is a myth, and I think it's a mindset that we gotta work towards. The problem is people think very linearly. Our brain is designed to think very linearly, and if we're going to get to a certain place, we have to look at our whole lives holistically. You can't build a puzzle without a picture of the box. And so you need to look at your whole life from your point B and work backwards to point A. And the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line, and that's how you get there.
We see can you become a millionaire at 65? Why $1 million? Do you need $1 million? Do you even need the other formulas to determine a certain percentage of your income? Could you not say, here's what I want my retirement to look like, here's what I figure it will cost, and aim for that? Can you custom design your price?
Absolutely. The $1 million is an arbitrary number. It's a goal. It's a goal worth pursuing if you have the ability to save for it.
Yeah, because those savings figures a month, a lot of people, let's face it, are never going to achieve that.
And it becomes that source of anxiety. Well, if I'm not going to have $1 million, then I can't retire. Don't go there. absolutely think about what retirement should look like to you. There's a lot of trends in retirement now. It means part-time work, it means volunteering somewhere, getting part-time income. It doesn't have to be pure, and it doesn't have to be full-out quitting and eating tomato sandwiches and watching Jeopardy. It can be something
that
very
sounds
fulfilling.
pretty good some days.
But it's really a lot more about making that choice, being able to choose to do what you want to do in that next phase of your life, whether it's at 55 or at 75. The problem that we have is goes back to that financial porn. Oh, well, you have to have the yacht when you retire, and you have to be able to fly off to Paris every weekend when you retire, and that's not real.
Maybe you just want to spend time with your grandkids.
Absolutely.
Jim, what happens with our tax breaks right now? Are they getting better? Are they as good as ever? I mean, we need a little motivation.
Yeah, absolutely. Taxes have been improving consistently, probably for the last 15, 20 years. With the elimination of tax bracket creep, we're now paying less tax this year than we did last year, with no changes in taxation rules at all. Retirees have more breaks than ever with pension splitting, the increase in the pension income credit. So there, and then you have the child breaks if you have children. So I think there's been a lot of advancement in the tax system.
And a lot of people certainly don't take advantage of their RSP contribution room. The RSP deadline tomorrow coincides with the Bank of Canada interest rate announcement. A change not expected by most analysts, but definitely a rise anticipated sometime later this year. Shafik, what do you see tomorrow, and how should we react?
Well, again, a lot of people are mixed about that decision, but it looks like they're again going to leave the rates where they stay. If rates go up, Canada's got some issues because the Canadian dollar is already high. An increase in rates would probably cause the Canadian dollar in parity to the United States' currency to rise even more, and that would be detrimental in terms of our GDP figures. That'll be detrimental in terms of our exports. So I personally don't see a rise tomorrow.
They're on the rise later this year, though, most think. Beth, do we need to clamp down, lock things in?
Absolutely.
Don't take
Whether
on too
it's
much
tomorrow
debt?
or not is irrelevant, but you definitely need to start to think about what will happen when interest rates do begin to go up. What will happen to your mortgage? What will happen to those line of credit payments? What will happen to your credit card payments? And how are you going to manage for that? And I'd like to contradict what you just said earlier. I think taxes, although we've been in this 20-year gap of declining taxes, I think we're about to see them go up. Maybe not this year, maybe not the year after, but with the debt that we've been growing, whether it's in Canada or internationally, you're going to have to see that debt being paid off by taxes.
Interesting insight. Thank you all tonight.